It is such a beautiful thing that I got to understand that there's nothing stopping me from not only shining my light, but shining with joy. Joy is the weapon that actually brings more light to your light. There is nothing that the enemy can do to take away your joy. You know, something broke yesterday. Some stronghold broke when I committed to shining my light in spite of. And that belief to say that I'm just going to keep shining my light, I'm just going to keep being myself, it really broke something in me whereby some level of anxiety I used to have disappeared. Just from a courageous act of just being myself, no matter what. But here's what it's now laying the foundation of: being able to have joy being myself. Because joy being yourself allows you to have joy being creative. And when you get to do what you are created to create within, with joy, you enjoy your gift and ultimately your purpose. Because the process is where you do that which cannot be taught, but which you have within you inherently, and you do it with a heart filled with love, because love comes from happiness. What I noticed when I'm greeting strangers, as I'm doing my hosting work, I noticed that a big part of me can love people when I'm happy. People say love others, but what does love truly mean? How does it really feel when I know it's there? I've understood one thing. It's very hard to be happy around people. It's very hard to be around people that you love and not experience a feeling of happiness. It is really hard to have love exist in a place where happiness doesn't as well. And I'm noticing right now that joy, doing things with joy, is actually activating my heart. So I need to remember, be joyful as you do it. Because within you doing it with joy, you get to open up your heart to express love. And people who are around you always smile. And that's what I noticed today. A lot of smiles came through people who don't know me. I've got an amazing interactions where I got to share my heart, where I got to share my joy. And I noticed that it affects the people around. They're like, oh, this guy, he seems like a person I want to, it's almost like you become magnetic. Your magnetic joy wants people to be around you. Your magnetic aura of joy brings people to you. And that's what I noticed is so vital. And ultimately, what I've noticed about me, having that joy is absolutely vital. And I've realized that for me, the biggest thing that I will always remember to always entertain is to do everything with a smile on my face. Because that's where my love is. I can love you just as you are. I can love you when I just engage with you. I can love you doing what I love. I can love you engaging with you. I can love you doing this. I can love you because I am happy. Happiness is where love is. Love cannot exist where happiness does not exist as well. It's very hard to be happy and in love at the same time. It's very hard to be happy and not have love at the same time. Because then that happiness is more of a coping mechanism. You're putting a smile on your face when that face has no authentic foundation to rest upon. And that is ultimately a toxic way of responding to dealing with any situation. So for me, I've learned happiness is where joy is. And as long as whatever it is that I do, I get to have joy, it will always combat anything and allow me to experience the true pleasures that come with understanding that I cannot express love without happiness. And that's just something that is a gift, not only to me, but to people who get to experience the influence of that happiness in their life too. Love is the solution. Love is the answer. Be joyful in your response, in your transgressions, in your persecutions. Just like Paul said, this is why I love memorizing scripture, so that I get moments like this when I can just pull it out. Second Corinthians 12, verse 9 to 10. It's absolutely powerful. And it says, 2 Corinthians 12, verse 10. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in needs, in persecutions, in distress, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. I take pleasure. There was another version, I think it's the NIV. Therefore I delight. How is it possible that in a space where so much strife, suffering, challenge, persecution is what you're going through, somehow you find pleasure in it? Well, here's the beautiful thing. You can always express love in any situation. And one of the best ways to express love is to learn how to respond with joy. Oh, but this person's so mad. Give them the blessing of your joy in your response to them, because that is the window to your heart filled with love. And a heart that's filled with love cannot be broken no matter the situation. You can't manipulate somebody who has so much love that even when they see that you're trying to manipulate them, even when they see you're trying to take advantage of them, even when they see you saying certain things about them, they just smile and joyfully respond. I know what my intention is, I know what my purpose is. As long as I focus on that, I'm at peace, irrespective of what else ever happens. And yes, I'm fully aware of the decisions that you are making, but you know what? I think it's going to be absolutely up to you how you choose to be you and the decisions you choose to make. But I've laid this situation at rest and I've moved on. So it doesn't matter what happened. I've already moved on. I've forgiven and moved on already. So you have yourself a lovely day, in spite of what happened. And then I just continue moving on. That's joy. Oh, it's literally bringing me to the scripture. Another one popping up in my head. Another one's popping up in my head. Here in response to you, it says, repay, Romans 12 verse 17, repay no evil for evil. Have regard for good things in the sight of all men. That's number one. Right? And then Romans 12 verse 20, it says, therefore, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him a drink. For in doing so, you will heap coals of fire on his head, because he doesn't understand. How is it possible that you've got that much in you to treat me the way you are? And that is what joy and love through that joy can do. To be able to apply these scriptures, you're not doing it in a you know what, let me just be obedient to God, and you have an attitude where you just feed him, because now you are suffering your passive aggression. The aggression is poison that's only impacting you, and you feeding him with that passive aggression. You are giving him a drink, or her a drink, or with them a drink, with that passive aggression. And that passive aggression is affecting you, because it's your attitude in which you are giving the enemy, a meal or a drink, and that poison affects you, which then not only burns coal on their head, because they don't understand how is it possible you treating me so well after everything, but now the blessing that you were supposed to receive doesn't exist. Why? Because of the attitude of your action is now poisoning you. So that's why they say it's not just about what you say, it's not just about what you do, it's how you say it and how you do it that matters too. Do it with love. Do it with joy. And that's the blessing you give you before you give to anyone else. You get peace, no stress, no anxiety, no fear, nothing. Why? Because love is the answer, and joy flows with love. This is Bay 70 Panther. With all that being said, keep that in mind.